Hi there, I don't know if it's recording. It is recording. Yes, so I've decided that I'm going to record my reaction to the text of the devlogs from RPG Maker Unite, just because I got really excited. Why am I looking at the microphone? I'm supposed to look there. Anyway, just because I got really excited while reading, so I thought partway through it that I should record it. I am so excited for RPG Maker Unite. It's like, I've been waiting for this for so long. Excuse me, I'm gonna get some mint drops, just because I'm gonna speak a lot and I think my throat is gonna get dry. I should have gotten a cup of water, but I haven't at all. Anyway, so yeah, I'm really excited about this. I've been waiting for something that broke the mold of what RPG Maker has been doing basically since forever. I mean, RGSS was great. I was there when RPG Maker XP launched, and it changed so many things. Like, do you remember Sephiroth Spawn's SDK? If you do, you're on the old ones. Yeah. Then there was RPG Maker MV with the jump to JavaScript. Everybody being horrified with the change of the mapping system when VX launched. Anyway, but these changes seem to be minor compared to the changes that are coming with RPG Maker Unite. So I'm just really excited, and I want to share my excitement with you all. I hate English, I hate Portuguese, I hate every language in the world, and I think people shouldn't have the ability to communicate or have cognition at all. It's the worst evolutionary thing about being human. Anyway, let's continue. So let me start this. This is the first of the RPG Maker upcoming devlogs, apparently, and it's being written by Minami Yotsuba, who's a Japanese VTuber that's specialized in RPG Maker. I don't know of them, unfortunately, but I'm getting to know them now. And yeah, they've written this really nice blog post, and I'm hoping it's the first of many to come. Looking forward to it. So I'm excited and honored to be invited by the GGPR team into the RPG Maker Unite project, owing to my last experience as an RPG Maker user. In this devlog series, I will discuss the points of interest and touch upon the current state of RPG Maker Unite's development. So apparently, yeah, this I hadn't noticed this before. Of course, RPG Maker Unite is still under development, according to this blog post. I don't know how far in it is or how far it is not, but I don't know. From the screens, it seems like it's quite far. Yeah, it's launching this year. I'm hoping it's launching in the next 6 months or so. I'm really excited for this. Considering the blog post, it probably should launch within the next 3 months. I don't know. Anyway, so I don't know if I should literally read every word of this. I feel kind of disrespectful not reading every word of this, but also I do not want to bore you all. In the first entry of the devlog, we'll briefly introduce the features of RPG Maker for those who are not familiar with our series, and apparently, as from I have read from previous interviews, the focus of RPG Maker Unite is reaching a new audience for RPG Maker, and it is timed with the brand name change. So in Japanese, it's no longer RPG Tsukuru, it's RPG Maker. It's no longer RPG Tsukuru, it's RPG Maker. From now on, globally, it's all the same thing now. And this is lined up with the move to developing what appears to be a Unity plugin. So yeah, it's clearly a different business tactic that they're doing there. So the very first blog post seems focused on attending this potential new audience. The series' first RPG Maker that runs on Unity, which implies that there will be more. Actually, ignore the part. Ideally, there wouldn't be more. Hopefully, it would be a single one that gets updated constantly. But anyway, the RPG Maker series has been released as a proprietary standalone software in the past. Yes, in the past couple of decades, if not more. Now entering RPG Maker Unite's scheduled, how do you say that anyway, is the latest iteration to launch in 2022. Is the latest iteration of RPG Maker series and our challenge to re-innovate the Maker series, and it's designed to work on Unity. So yeah, from this we can assume that it's going to be an engine and an iteration of RPG Maker with many firsts. Unity is one of the world's most well-known game development engine and has given birth to countless games. It is not only used for casual games but also for high-quality AAA commercial titles. While Unity can be used to create games for 2D and 3D, RPG Maker Unite aims to be one of the options to support 2D RPG Maker creation on Unity. And now I have to check that the camera is still working because sometimes it stops. It is still working. Okay. Yeah, right. So they're bringing it to Unity. They want to open the tool set so we can create probably more advanced and complex things with it. I'm really brushing over it, but yeah, like Unity is serious business, right? I guess. No programming knowledge required, as always. RPG Maker Unite. I have just realized that my bookmarks are there, and that includes Miranda Cosgrove's Sparks Fly. But anyway, RPG Maker Unite, like the existing RPG makers, will support your game creation without a single line of coding. For those who play a lot of RPG games but never dove into development, RPG's mechanic may look simple but inadequate to think of only stories and characters. So yeah, here basically in this section they describe that the mechanics behind an RPG Maker seem simple. So they're going to describe some example mechanics and how they're not actually that simple, and how RPG Maker has always streamlined setting up these processes for you, starting from things like showing graphics and managing graphics on screen, to interaction, to gameplay mechanics and so forth, which, yes, if you were to make that all from scratch, it would take a long time. It's not as simple as it seems. But I'm not going to go through this part. Easy implementation of in-game events through event commands, which we are all familiar with this, but it's nice to see that it's being kept rather similarly to what it was before. This screen in particular looks very similar, but as you can see, this is not popping up as a menu. This is a sidebar, and we'll see that further down. This is a really exciting difference in design there. The image above is a function called event commands. We do know that through this visually based production mechanism. This part is interesting. You can create your very own systems and screen effects. What do they mean by screen effects? Don't know. By merely combining a variety of event commands. Once you learn how it works, you could start mix and matching various commands to create something beyond RPG Maker games, such as a visual novel, which has always been easy to do with RPG Maker in my opinion, 2D action, and even strategy games. So here's the interesting part. They go out of their way to mention 2D action and even strategy games. And I don't think making these genres of games has ever been encouraged in an RPG Maker before, at least not with events. So this seems to imply that the event system here will be more powerful than any of the previous iterations. So powerful, in fact, that you can, with a lot of work, I'm assuming, create a strategy RPG with it. Yeah, this part got me really excited. An evolved new editor with long-term production in mind. So what I've read from this section, they are basically, they have kept the same design principle for the editor ever since RPG Maker 95, basically. Don't know about the ones previous to that, like Dante or whatever, but from 95, I'm sorry, from 95 to today, the design principle has remained the same, where you have all of these windows that pop into each other in a hierarchy. So you have the base window, which is the editor, and then you open the database, for example, and while you're editing an actor, which is this screenshot right here, you can't edit the map. It's locked out of it. You're locked out of it. Why? Because this makes it easier for a beginner to not get lost. It's really clean, it's really simple, it's always been very easy to understand. But as you get farther into game development, this can get in the way. You will want the flexibility to do multiple things at once. Apparently, I've never been there myself because I've only used RPG Maker all my life. I did dabble in Unity last year, which is this is so exciting to me, but the idea here is that they are seeing a problem there in which more advanced users are having some trouble using the engine to create more complex things. And in previous interviews, they have mentioned that the biggest problem with RPG Maker was that they've seen with RPG Maker was that it's difficult to finish a game, basically, to go through the end. Why? Because the workflow can be more complex when you don't have access to things like editing multiple things at once, or I'm having trouble finding the words to say this, but yes, basically they have decided that this is a problem that they wanted to tackle, and that they want RPG Maker Unite to be easier, to provide an easier workflow and more tools for you to finish games easier. This excites me so much. So what's going to happen now, as you can see in this screen, it's very different from the one before, and I have opened it on my graphics editor here. This is the map settings window. Instead of it popping on front of the editor like this, which is what it has always done, it popped in front of the editor and you can't do anything else. No, it's right here in the inspector. So while you're editing this, you can edit something here, and you can edit something here. And I am assuming that you can drag these windows around and arrange your own UI and edit things simultaneously as you wish. They didn't say that, that's my guess, based on the layout presented here, and based on what Unity already does. So let's take a look at this screenshot. It shows many interesting things. To start, here we have the map editor scene display thing where you edit the map, and it's side by side to 4 other interesting things, and I'm guessing that you can add your own here. There's the RPG Maker Codebase editor, which is the most exciting of this. I should have gone from this to this. Okay, let's start with the database editor scene. So this here is probably where you're going to edit everything on your database, like actors and whatnot. And then there's the outline editor. What is the outline editor? This is new to me. I don't know. Probably it's obvious. Probably you already know, but this is new to me. I don't know what it is. And I'm excited to learn what it is. And then there's the RPG Maker Codebase editor, which is right here, into the engine, into Unity. And I'm wondering if through this you can edit the base systems like the battle system and the menus and whatever, however you wish. I don't know, but if they made this accessible to the user, like for example, each time you start a new project, it builds the menus and whatever, and you get to edit these menus in the same way that they were made, using the Unity UI editing tools, which are amazing. They're really good. So this is my guess. It's We haven't had this since VX Ace, but this I think it's gonna be so different from VX Ace. Much more visual, much easier to use, much more powerful. That's my guess. Yeah, exciting. Then there's the map editor, of course, and then there's this. Okay, so this is standard. This is the same as all other RPG makers since VX Ace, basically, I think. However, there's these little icons here. This pencil and these selection tools. These brushes and this eraser. What my guess from these brushes mean is that the pencil lets you place tiles, and this lets you place tiles in a circle, in a square like you've always done, in a circle, and these possibly, but I might be wrong, let you terrain paint, which is a feature that's included in Unity, stock Unity, and so you can, if this does what I think it does, and I might be wrong, you can paint tiles outside of a grid, and that would be amazing. But that's not all. Let's look at this. These are the layers from the tile set. More layers here. They're nothing at all like the tile layers from any other RPG makers. So there's distant view in background. I assume distant view is probably similar to the parallax layer that we've always had, although do we have parallax layer here? BGM, BGS, the dashing, not at all. So yes, I'm assuming this is the new parallax, and it is tile based, probably, or terrain brush based. Don't know, but it's different. It's for sure different, and that's exciting. And then this background, which I assume is where you're going to place things like grass, cobblestone, flooring, and etc. Probably you're going to use this for the buildings as well. And then there's background collision, which interesting. So collision is separate from the tiles for the first time. You actually draw the collisions, which I wonder, probably I'm guessing that there's some default collisions that are assigned to tiles. So when you paint the tiles, it paints collision automatically, but you can just go ahead and change the collision layer if you want to. That's my guess. I could be wrong. And then there's the ever familiar shadow, which it's present in the screenshot. You can see some shadows. No, I think this is tile shadow or not. Don't know. That's a really thick outline, by the way. I mean here and here, which is weird. But these tiles are very pretty. I love them. Yeah. But anyway, that's shadow, C and D, and then more interestingly, for root, that we've never had anything like that before. I think. Of course, this could be something like the directional collisions that we've had before. Like, for example, a tile where you can walk horizontally, but you can't walk vertically. It could be that. But it could also be something like a collision, like a nav mesh. So Unity has this really interesting navigation system where basically you bake a nav mesh that's based on level geometry. What that means is you take all of the map that you've built and you bake a 3D model of the map that has automatic collisions according to the settings that you've set. Probably can do it manually too, although I wouldn't do it normally, but so you create this collision mesh automatically, and then you can use that to have events decide the best path through that nav mesh thing. Like it's basically a pretty functional and even advanced form of what's the name for when you find the path? I forgot the name of that. It's not automatic pathing. No. You know what I'm talking about. Like on RPG Maker, when you click somewhere and the character tries to find a path to that, but then they don't. They just get stuck around and they can't get there. Pathfinding, yes. So I wonder if this has anything to do with pathfinding. The word route, it is associated with the move route event, so these might be flags for the move route event commands too, so to know. And then there's auto tiles, which are on a different portion here. Auto tiles, normal tiles, large parts, and effects. I didn't notice this before. What does effect do? Are these still gonna be shown as tiles here? Don't know. Exciting. Save tile group, load tile group, effect placement, delete tile. Yes, this is interesting. I don't know what this will do. No idea. I mean, obviously it was gonna save and load, but the workflow seems very different from standard RPG Maker that we've workflow that we've seen for a long while. And then there's effect placement, which is different from effect. Don't know what that is. Delete tile. So maybe you can add it on a tile by tile basis. That's what tile group means. And then delete tile. You can just edit the tile set. So these are actual individual these are not going to be individual sprites. These are going to be spliced sprite sheets. I'm 100% sure, but yeah, I don't know. This is different, and the difference excites me. These are not translated. I can't read this. I'm sorry. I should have learned to read this long ago, but I haven't. So, yes, what a bummer. Let's keep reading. Of course, we're aware of this. Of this what? Yes. That's what we were talking about. The streamlining of, not streamlining, but changing the design principles to be able to edit all at once and probably move the windows around and make your own layout. At first, this complete UI change might feel a little odd to make of veterans and overwhelming to beginners. However, owing to the much higher computer literacy of today's general public, we have observed how fast, young, and passionate RPG Maker users turn into veterans. That's really cute. In the end, we believe the style changes would be welcomed and also would be beneficial to especially larger projects, which I agree. Getting stuck on old workflows is really tempting. Old art styles, old workflows, and just doing the same thing forever, never for decades. Tempting, super tempting. And it is terrifying to learn something new because it consumes time. It's time consuming. But the power that you gain from these new tools just pay off the time that you spent learning them so quickly. So this is gonna be great. I'm 100% sure that this is gonna be great, and I hope that the experience with RPG Maker Unite gets transplanted in the next mainline RPG Maker, because RPG Maker Unite is not a mainline RPG Maker, but I hope that the experiences with this get transferred somewhat to the next mainline entry. Meanwhile, we're also thinking of ways to help guide beginners as much as possible. Great, so tutorials, I guess? Or just making something very intuitive? The first RPG Maker in the series to natively support FHD resolution. What is FHD? I don't remember the exact number. There's another long sought after change coming true. Native full HD resolution support. This would be a first for the RPG Maker series, which is funny because obviously they have decided to go with pre-rendered 3D characters for the sprites, and that was very intelligent. Trying to make pixel art characters for tiles, which the tiles are not getting much bigger, I think. They're just getting more tiles per screen and more tiles per character, but trying to make characters that fit within 180p resolution, for example. No, you're not gonna make it. It's gonna be hell. So making pre-rendered characters was the natural choice here. They should have done with it with MV, to be honest, but what we got. As we've seen in our sample map, okay, let me take a closer look at this. So, create canvas from clipboard. Oh, these tiles are pretty, I like them a lot. Very complex. You can see the placement of things is quite organic, not very organic because this is a town. This is, oh, look at that. Look at that. This. Remember when I was talking about terrain brush? I think this is a terrain brush. So that's not, you're not placing grass tiles. You're taking a brush and painting the grass tiles. And this brush probably is based on a transparent PNG or several that you can choose between. So it cuts off the silhouette of the grass for you. This is gonna instantly, look at that, this is made with a brush. 100% made with a brush. This is exciting. If you like mapping, you're gonna like that, I'm sure. This is beautiful, this is everything, I'm here for it. 100%. Look at that, this is so organic. And you can see, so this is made with an airbrush type brush. While this is made with another type of brush. So I'm guessing these types of brush, they are probably PNGs that you can add. For example, let me try to make two of them here. An airbrush, which I'm gonna use an airbrush for it. It's probably a PNG like this. So it's like this. While the grass tile is probably a PNG that has that is like this. No, come on. That is like this, but with a texture. So yeah, kind of like this. This is very. I'm just doing it very quickly, but kind of like this. So as you paint this around, it looks like, let's pretend this looks like brush, like, you know, what it is supposed to. Yeah. So and then this becomes grass. Ta-da! It's gonna be something like this, I guess. Don't know. But that means you can probably add your own brushes and create very organic looks with this, if you're into that. And if you're not, it's probably going to have a lot of organic, natural brushes. Take a look at this shadow. This shadow was painted in, for sure. And not in the tile. I'm pretty sure that this was painted in the editor with the terrain tool or something like that. So, yes, color me excited. Oh, another interesting thing to look at. The water. We haven't seen it in motion yet. But this is not a water tile. Wait a second.